All right, are we streaming? Are we streaming? Looks like we are. Hey, I need a video. Let's get a video. I'm using an app for this. I can't remember what it's called. My studio. It's pretty good. Lets me use my. I don't like iPhone continuity camera. I find it extremely buggy. But I found Camo Studio, and so far there's no cost, and I'm impressed by that. I'm impressed by how well it works. It lets me use my front camera, and so if I have to, I can actually switch apps on my phone, which is right there, which you can't see. So I think I'm ready to go. So in today's, so in the first streaming session I did with this code base, my goal was just to get that code base open and have a bit of a look and delete some. I ended up deleting a bunch of documentation files because if I'm going to rework everything dramatically, I don't need them. I won't need them. They will be redundant and can possibly actually pollute work that I'm doing if I use LM to do any of the work. So yeah, so that was the first session. In this session, my goal is to actually get the app running locally, get what the Node app, what the UI is supposed to look like locally, and I think explore some of the Firestore settings because I have a theory that where this app is being installed at the moment, it's using local storage for data, and I feel like I feel like it should be using data in the cloud. There is evidence of data in the cloud, which we'll look at in this video. So, okay, so the first thing I want to do is grab my codex, and we're just going to create a new project so that I can just kick off tasks with codex if I need to. So I'll just do this off screen. Add folders that codex can read. We want to go into the Aussie Coffee project, and we're opening. There we go. Okay. So AC stands for Aussie Coffee, and Pontify is the working name of the app. Sort of your point, I imagine. This is a cafe in Rio, so Portuguese is pretty heavy. So I don't know if it has a different feel in Portuguese, but yeah. Just check over to my chat, and I'm just going to add a little message to the chat today. Looking at running this. I don't really see any reason not to bring this onto the screen. I know it's a little bit fourth wall breaking. Today, looking at running this this app locally, and looking at some Firestore settings, Firebase settings, which I'm a bit noob at, to be honest. Okay. I've got my code base. I'm using ZEditor. I'm finding I have some basic plugins, mostly for PHP because most of the work I do is PHP. But if you can see, I've got a few uncommitted things from the last session that I did. I've been deleting things. I will just finish that off actually. So here's the last session we were in. I'll just do a git status, and I'm going to delete all of this, and I'm going to just amend my previous message. So I'm just going to put that all in one commit. Okay. Make that text a little bit bigger. And another reminder is I have the old, when I want to refer to something that may be accidentally deleted or whatever, I've got my old code base here, both in terminal and in Z. So AC Pontify old and AC Pontify. So if I was to do a git diff from the last session, git diff to main name only. I don't know how to count. Don't know how to do very much in bash by comparison. So we just look at that list of files. We've got 765 files. So I've deleted 765 files of documentation. I'm happy about that. It means something. Obviously, there's documentation we want to end up with. But yeah. Okay, so I want to get this app running, and a lot of these videos are about me naively referring to knowledge of how things work and going, how do we do this thing again? So as I said in the previous video, there is a package JSON in the root of the directory, but mostly it's about setting up variables, running tests and things like that. I will mention that I do want to understand how 1Password's being used at some point. And I'm just going to close the door because there's background noise. 1 second. It's taking a morning to do a stream here, and I might not have completely free reign of the house to do that, but we'll see how far we get. Okay, so what I really am interested in is this app, these apps in here. So we've got a front end app and we have a desktop app. And what I really want to know is which one of these two I'm running, like without caring what backend it's connecting to. So if I look in both of these things, I want to see some sort of like routing. So in the desktop app, we see attendance queue, device, kiosk, window, life cycle, surface erasure. You know, I'm not going to speculate what some of this stuff is. And so because there's this tenant biometric administration finalization, I'm going to assume at this stage that this is the app that was built to talk to the custom biometric bridge that's written in C#. I'm going to jump to this front end app now and just have a quick look at the pages. Okay, so this is what I want to run. I want to run this because usually with anything that's been built, the surface area that a user touches is the surface area that is most of interest. You can often remove everything else except what the surface area is and does. Onboarding page registration, ponto would be point in Portuguese, just guessing. Splash page, contract templates, employee portal, admin page. So I kind of want to run up this admin page. So I'm going to focus first on running this front end app, standalone app. I'll just have a look at what environment variables it might be expecting. I haven't done a previous review. I'm fairly confident there won't be secrets inside these variables, but at the same time, I'm not going to look at certain files if I am in any doubt, or I'll take it off screen. Let's just have a quick look. So I think one of the slipping points that happened was because of the need to talk to the biometric bridge, it turned into a Node app to run on the Surface Pro. And so I don't know what the best way to describe that would be. It's like a schism of of architectural decision. Like it's like a fork in the road in terms of an architectural decision. So I'm not. So I want to end up without this file, for example. I don't want to be running Docker on a machine in order to run this. I want it to run on any machine. Same with Nginx, so that'll be used by the Docker file. Okay, so packages, we're looking at a React app, React DOM, sure. Plug in React TypeScript. And Google Maps is, I don't know how that, I mean, I would say, I've said this to Dan, but what's the prioritization of, like my first feeling was like, oh, that's really nice that you want to be able to offer reimbursements for map stuff, but it's a lot of functionality. So it's a lot of functionality sitting inside an app that's not really productionized yet. Should that be a priority? But the fact is, there doesn't seem to be a lot here. So this Aussie coffee shared, I talked about previously, so that's a dependency. So hopefully that without too much mucking around, we should be able to use these libraries here. Types is going to be a good one to look. I'm going to have a quick look through this types file. So if you're not aware with TypeScript, it will, like it's kind of like this is the quote unquote missing part of JavaScript, right? Like it's being able to strongly type variables, objects, and authenticate against those types. So, so if I had an authenticated user object and I decided that I was going to access a property called foobar, that property doesn't exist here, it'll get flagged as an issue. So just looking at these types I quite like TypeScript, and especially if it's well done. So if I just look through here, these might show me some of the first class entities that are being used in the app. So health response, in guess, sandbox, data, register Ponto Google connection record. Okay. A lot of this stuff. So then you sort of start scrolling down and you see a lot of this repetitive stuff and you go, okay, I understand why. It's not that weird in itself. But 4,500 lines of custom types. Yeah, like it's just a lot of, it's kind of great because like, it's like if it runs, it runs. If it compiles, it compiles or whatever. But this is the bit that I've seen in my own projects where I've used LM and it creates a lot of complexity, and I'll look at it and I'll go kind of snip, don't need that, don't want that, understand that not having that, I need to bypass that, sure. And then I end up with something that I can keep in my head. One file that's 4,500 lines to keep in my head when I'm understanding and investigating the code, like it's kind of like it shuts out the human programmer. Like it's like in enabling the non-programmer to be able to build something like this. There's a gate where the human programmer can't access it. And so I talk about rebuilding this app and you say, well, if does the app work? Look, the app mostly works as far as I understand. I understand there's a few challenges of the app as well. But if it was a fully working, functioning app, why would I rebuild it? And I think the reason for that is like there's no human can be accountable for this code at this stage. So like the horse is bolted and you've got something, it's like having a wild Brumby that you haven't tamed. It's running around in the wild and it might be a great horse, but you can't use that horse. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to try and do, because I feel like if I'm going to help support this business venture, I don't know if this is the code that I could even support. I don't think I could support this code at this stage. And then weirdly, if I take a lot of the code out and then bring some of this code back in, that's not even a bad thing. Who cares? Like, it's not hard to do that. It's not hard to regenerate the code. Easily gained, easily lost, easy come, easy go code. All right, so we're using share packages. I'm assuming that's going to work. I guess I want to start, let's start compiling. So I'm in Pondify. I'm just going to go into the app directory. So I think it was apps, not front end, wasn't it? Was it front end? Front end, desktop, front end. And then I'm in the right place. Yep. And then let's do a full look. Does it give me an NVM file? Is it asking me to use a specific version? Let's just try npm up and see what happens. I have cleared all of, at one stage I deleted all of the photo folders, so things like node modules folders that are used to pull down libraries and stuff like that for React projects and so forth. They all need to get pulled in. I'm expecting there to be warnings, and what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to push through. I'm going to assume this is pulling down files. Too vulnerable, that's fine. All right, I want to run a server. So does it have me a run? So build dev lint. So running build, and I always get hazy on my JavaScript projects, even though I've touched millions of them in the past. On the build package script, do you mean this? NVM run? Yep, I do mean that. And I'm thinking what's going to create a server here? So do I need to run, yeah, wow, okay. So even though there's all this TypeScript and stuff, there's a lot of errors, TypeScript errors. So what's happening there, I wonder? Well, I mean, come on. Like, is this compiling in the back end? Is this compiling in the back? Like, is the LM like codex compiling in the back end, and it's probably saying things like, "I'm not going to fix existing issues with this for this new feature in the text," and yeah, so it's pretty. So this is like, what's the point? What's the point of having TypeScript if you've got so many errors? So what I really need is a way to, I guess, run a server now. And I just don't know if I've got one for a second. I'm just trying to remember. Is there something in the README? Yeah, I'm still on the back end. So run ngrok. All right. So npm run dev. Yeah, let's do that. Front end. That's what we want to run. We're going to run dev front end. All right, there's our URL. And let's open up a browser. So here is the app. I'm just wondering if I should just use translation locally. I won't for the moment. I can read enough, I guess. Administration, register point. So like register this location, I guess. Collaboration portal. Some stats. How do you do translation in Brave? Is there one of these buttons that's supposed to do it? Terrible. Put on search, translation details. maybe if I have an active chat community, people will like, shout out answers. It's like, just do this. I'm not that smart. Let's just open a... Oh, this is fun. This is really super fun. I'm using a browser. You might think I use this all the time. And let's just switch over here for now. Let's just do a guest mode, Google Chrome, and here we go. Oh, there's actually a translation in the app. Of course there is. Okay, so let's translate in the app. I don't know how good this is going to be, but okay. Register point, missing punches. So staff not punching in, priority items surfaced for manager action. Administration, scheduling, compliance. So I don't think these are buttons. I think these are like little just pills that just explain all the cool stuff. Workforce platform. The ambition, as you can imagine, the ambition is to sell a product, like to have some other people use this product. So it's quite comprehensive. I would say, like, there's a running cafe at the moment that's not using this product. So a lot of this is about automation of the things and to allow Daniel to focus on other business ventures while the cafe just runs. And if he opens another cafe and another cafe, great. So he's looking at how does his cafe scale, which is good. It's a good goal. Having been able to log in like this locally, I don't, it's kind of weird that you don't get, like, there's no login to get me to this point. And I think I mentioned in the other video that a lot of this stuff should be back to Splash. A lot of this stuff is empty because there's no data locally. This is not talking to a remote data store. And we should expect to see a few errors because of that. So I go to employees. Okay, so everything's 0. That's great. Can I create an employee? So Alan, get my caps lock off. Davies at example.com. WhatsApp. Let's see what we can get away with not using here. 2000. Okay, label, alternative phone number. I've got a little bit of a thought in my head going, like, surely there's a system, an open source system that can have these details that can then be extended. I mean, like, I know there is, but what's the difference between, okay, so it wants me to do an address. So what's High Street, street? This is going to be very Rio coded, I think. So street is, I guess, High Street, and the number is 1. Complement, city, probably going to want, do I know how to spell De Janeiro? I don't. Janeiro. I know the state of that city is the same as the city. Oh, there you go. Like that, guessing. CP, let's see how much. Okay, so there's clearly not validation behind some of this stuff. Did that work or has that failed? something is getting blocked on this page, right? So something is failing in the background. Let's try the console, see what's going on. Is there a huge amount of value doing this? I just want to see how the app runs. Bottom. So it's trying to talk to, okay, so this local API is this desktop. There's a server that's running locally. So the assumption is that I've installed Node locally and I've installed a server locally. So that's as far as I'm going to even look at that. Attendance, generate a JSON export for this data set. Wonder what that is for. Reports or controls. Like, I wonder if it's just envisioning someone else doing this, or like using this tool and being able to get data out of the system. Abria developers, open developers. Did this lose my translation? Technical manuals. So the next thing I'm really curious about is, so let's say I want to try to install this in the cloud and have this talk to Firestore in the cloud. But the thing that's overwhelming is how much there is here. And so I sort of have to kind of work out, I haven't done this thing where you're taking a vibe coded app. The assumption in a vibe coded app is that all the things in the vibe coded app are needed, are high priority. It's like when you have a backlog in project management, and you have, like, you're doing Scrum, and so someone's like organizing the backlog, and they're organizing the backlog based on priority, and the team lead comes in, or the project manager in the Scrum master comes in and says, look, based on the last sprint, you got 4 guys and they delivered 30 points of story, and to the product owner they got 5 features or something. And so the product owner then takes the backlog and then they prioritize their backlog based on what they really want, and then hopefully they'll get those things in the next sprint. Everything's estimated and how many points am I going to get. So what is quite bewildering to my mind is the fact that so many features can be done so quickly that it bypasses that whole measure of what's really needed. It's like, impulsively, I can make a new thing really, really quickly. So I will. I'm not really happy with that other thing, but it looks like this shiny other thing that I can build. I can just build it, and that adds value. So if I look at all these things, I have to assume that they work to some degree, but also I'm going to assume that they don't work to some degree. Like, we've seen all the errors in the compilation, and there's all the errors, there's some errors in the console and so forth. Not unusual, but this is not a production app at the moment. There's no one saying, oh, this page works fine, but we've got this bug or anything like that. So I'm really uncertain about the quality of what's being built, and therefore how to prioritize what's there. This is what I was sort of saying to Dan. It's like, it'd be really good if you deployed your app so that then you could have actual feedback on what's working, what's not working. Or I could ask you what's working, what's not working. Because I know I'm a developer, and if I build something, if no one's using it, I can say everything's working in the happy path, like you. Anyway, so I'm gonna go and have a look at Firestore. So I'm just gonna do this off camera while I just connect to the right place. So what browser am I using for this? All right, cloud. Console. I'm just logging into the Google Cloud Console, and I'll just get up the pages that I want, make sure I'm logged in as the thing that I'm expecting to be logged in as, and quick access, cloud storage, compute, social dashboard, and right, cool. All right, so I'm logged into Google Cloud as an admin account, and let's go to Firebase. I just need to check. There's a bunch of projects here. There's a lot of projects here not being used. Well, not really in production, so to speak. I am aware. So I had set up this project. I don't think this project's being used. And I understand from previously that Firebase lives in this project. So Firebase, Firestore. So hopefully I'm in the right project. Let's get a Firestore. No, I don't think this is going to be. Because otherwise it looks like I've got no data connecting at the moment. And let's jump to this one. Interesting. Right, I'm going to go to the code and look for a project name. Like Firebase, Firestore indexes. It's just got a name of indexes. I'll hold this page open for a second because I will come back to this. And it's going to take this off screen for a second, okay, because I'm going to look for an environment file. And if I, okay. All right, I might prepare this for next time. I might wrap this video here and prepare this for next time because I need to do a bit of a dive into, it looks like all the passwords have been put into one password, and so I need to do, I think I'm gonna need to do an audit on that and have a look and double check what the Firestore database and stuff. So I'm seeing all the variables. I can actually show this on the screen. There's nothing private in here, but all the variables have been put into one password, and that would include things that I would want to read, like Firebase project ID and client email and private key. So I'm going to come back to this video I'm going to come back to this with a little bit of investigation. So I have all of the details that I need first. So yeah, so in the next video, so just to wrap it up, my name's Simon or Sai, and my company is FreeSource. And the next video, I'm gonna keep diving into the Firebase setup, and with the goal of seeing if I can get the app running in the cloud. I feel like I may like nuke and start just the app, just the dashboard app as a starting point and get that running in the cloud. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks.